Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for UFC fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and today I'll be getting you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. Here at Fighting Stats, we have exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else, giving us a huge edge over the sportsbooks that help us make money long term. Here at Fighting Stats, we also track how often they throw that left jab or that right hook from southpaw, how often they're moving back, or how much time is spent in side control versus full mount. We have all of that information, but that's not it. We pair that with our tape study here. We're going to go through the fights. We're going to watch for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies to help you get prepared for the upcoming UFC fights. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Top of the evening to you. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. This is Art C. Thanks for joining me. Again, today's Thursday night. We're going to go through all of the plays here. If this is the first time, again, don't worry. I normally host these shows behind our Patreon. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through all of the actual fights. I'll give you a very quick breakdown, but I'm more looking at the actual betting lines. I'm going to have all of the betting tabs open. We're going to go through all the books, try to find the ones that have value. I'll share what I've played so far, and what I'll actually do is on stream here, I'll place even more bets. So if I see something that I like, I'll play them live here so that you get real-time information about what we're playing. Hopefully it helps you get some information about how to attack these fights going forward and get you prepared for on Saturday. Again, it's an early card. UFC London, movie star Evloev takes on Lerone Murphy. 5-round main event contender, eliminator, both guys undefeated. I don't want to say it should be a good fight because I don't think it will be. Hopefully, based on our bets, it's a boring, long, drawn out fight, exactly how we think it's going to go. But making money is more better than being excited about fights. But without further ado, let's get started here. What's going on, boys? All right. So first things first, I just want to go through our actual record here, just show you what we're doing here and how we've been doing it. This is our actual master tracker here. You can see overall for the year, we are 141 wins, 163 losses. We are up about $7,500, 30.5 units in total, 8.9% ROI. This is not including live betting. This is all pre-fight stuff. And you can see here on the tracker here, we track everything from the amount wagered per event. You can see here, actually, remember, we started this year at $20,000 bankroll. So we kept our unit size at 1% of the bankroll. As the bankroll grew, our unit size grows. So if you try to do the math is not going to make sense. But you can see here our unit size continues to go up as the events go on. We've been making profit. Started out a little bit rocky, but had some pretty good weeks here, 5 and 2 overall for profitable weeks. And we track it ROI wise. We track straight bets, prop bets, parlays, same game parlays, long shot parlays, takedown, significant strikes. We're even doing well on our bankroll builder. We posted that, so we're 3 and 4 on the bankroll builder. Those are short little parlays, and then we've been shooting shoot for the moon, but we haven't hit that yet. We're getting close, but we're gonna get there. And then here's our actual live betting that's not included. So in addition to the 30 units that we're making pre-fight, we're up about 35 units live betting. We've only had one not profitable night there. So again, come join us. This is our profit chart so far for 2026. Again, a little bit rocky up and down here, but we're starting to take off yet again. If you compare it to 2025, our chart here at the bottom almost looks similar. Well, 2025 was just straight to the moon here. So we go straight up. And then even 2024, we have it tracked here. Again, we track everything here. So going back to 2024 was a little bit rocky, but we're backing up. So again, all of that stuff is pre-fight. You can join it at patreon.com/fighting stats. There should be a QR code somewhere up there. Actually, let me see here. There. It's in the corner there. And again, I won't go over it, but here's our live betting tracker here. We've been absolutely crushing live betting. This is 2026. Again, we're up to 7,500 live betting. 2025 live betting, again, amazingly going up. And 2024 live betting. So it's almost the same profit chart. Week over week, month over month, just consistent wins there. What's going on, everybody in the chat? There's a lot of you guys here, so not a problem here. Boogie Down is here. Tim says, change my luck. That's what we're hoping to do here. I'll go through everything. We'll tell you what to bet on, all that stuff. Crit says, congrats on the 10K. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. Basically, we've reached 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much for the support and love. Couldn't do it without you guys. I'm not typically one to do a ton of content during the weeks. I'm trying to get out more and more and do it, but it's a lot of work, right? So a lot of the week is focused on a lot of tape study, line analysis, looking at stats and all that stuff. So I don't have a ton of time to do these YouTube videos and such as well. So that's why sometimes on the Patreon, again, I just turn on the camera. This is part of the ritual that I go through during the week anyway. As I go through the lines, I see what I have, I see what I'm missing, where I want to add. By this time, a lot of the props are out. So again, I'm just turning on the camera, letting you guys know what, again, we're playing, all that stuff here. My boy Dix Insider is always here. Thank you very much. I don't see the first comment. No, unfortunately not. Vice City says, so to the Patreon crew. Thanks, my boys. Thanks for the support over the years. All the best. What is the 50% off code, bro, to celebrate 10? Okay, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll give you a 50% off code. As of right now, we have a 25% off. This was loaded. It's 2026 stats here on Patreon. You can get 25% off the first month. I'll show that again. Not a problem. But yeah, let's get into it. So because already talking about the main event and stuff. We'll get into it. We'll go fight after fight. So here's what I normally do is I pull up the, sorry, this thing's still in the way. All right. So we're going to go through fight by fight. We're going to start with the first fights. We're going to go through them. And again, I'll tell you what I've played, why I played it maybe, and maybe what other ones have value in them. We're starting with the Melissa Mullins, Luana Carolina fight. I'll reference FanDuel here, but I'm going to be I have DraftKings up here. I bet Rivers. I got Caesars. I got Bet Online and MGM. So if there's a specific line that we see, again, we play anything that really has value to it, right? So if I see a line, will somebody have blood on their face, I'll play it and I'll post it and I'll tell you guys what has value. That's the goal of the game here is just to make money here. So starting with the first fight of the night, Melissa Mullins versus Luana Carolina. This one's going to be, in my mind, it's a grappler versus striker type matchup. The line is pretty close at 110 minus 134. I will stay off the bat here. I took a stab at Melissa Mullins as the dog. I think that she has more ways to win. Now, I understand that Luana Carolina's Muay Thai girl. She's looked pretty good striking. Melissa Mullins is very hittable on the feet. Don't get that wrong. But she can throw back. She can crack. I don't rate her striking that great, but I don't think it's that bad. I do think that she can get hit. I think that she's pretty durable to deal with that damage, but I think that she has a big grappling upside here. So normally with these grapplers type versus strikers type matches, I really look at that grappling edge. And for me, it's big here. And it's like historically what we've seen from Luana Carolina has not been good in the grappling department, giving up 5 takedowns to Montague. She almost, Luana Carolina has been taken down in every single fight that she's had. Going back to the Ariane Lipski, which wasn't counted as a takedown, but Ariane Lipski, the Muay Thai striker as well, got her in a knee bar, submitted her, so we'll count it as a takedown anyway. So every single fight she's getting taken down at least once. Melissa Mullins is, one of those IBJJF top high-level grapplers. The only knock on her is just the fighting IQ. Sometimes she doesn't want to get the fight down to the ground, or she chooses to wait too long to get the fight down to the ground. The 2 losses, the Daria Zelikova, the last one, she could have won that fight in round number 3. It was very close. She ended up losing a decision there. The Cornholio fight, she was winning that fight as well. She got cracked to the body. That would be the only thing here for me is worrisome, is that she can get hit to the body, and she is pretty soft to the body. We've seen her, peel over a couple of times because of shots to the body, a little bit soft there. So that's my worry here. But I like the upside with Melissa Mullins. I think that she can win. I think, again, once she gets the grappling going, I think it might be the round if she can get on top. The fact that Luana Carolina has been taken down every single fight, it gives me at least one round here for Melissa Mullins. And I think that she can win it through grappling. Again, if it stays standing, I probably favor Carolina, and I worry about the knees to the gut, things like that. But the other thing I took here in a stab, again, it's moved a little bit, but I took Melissa Mullins by submission. Now, again, this one is going to sound weird because she doesn't have any submissions on her record, but she's a ground girl, right? And she wants to get the fight down to the ground. Luana Carolina shows an obvious weakness on the ground. If she can get it there, and I think the opportunities will present themselves. I think that she can submit. Again, it's plus 1300, and now it's at plus 1200 on FanDuel. I think it was 13 on Rivers, so you might want to check there. It's a small stab. It's sort of, I think the fight goes to decision, honestly. So if I had to look in terms of a total, I would pick fight goes, but if it finishes, it's probably Mullins by submission, or it's probably a Carolina by like something to the body, some kind of KO things. But I think more often than not, it's probably going to go to decision, minus 260. Here, looking at DraftKings, I think it's about the same. 245 is a little bit better here. And I'll just reference DraftKings here because they have a lot of the bets that I like here as well. Looking at some of these finish only lines, decision only lines, sort of thing. Again, Carolina's going to have all the striking advantages on the feet. So I would favor Carolina finish only, with the fact that these bets probably push if it goes to decision. If you like the Mullins side, again, it probably goes. So I don't really think that either one is safer. Submission only line is probably Mullins. I'm surprised actually by this plus 105. I like that quite a bit actually. I don't think Carolina's subbing, especially not from bottom. She doesn't have any sub wins. She's never attempted. Oh, yeah, she has. She attempted a couple of submission on Priscilla Cachoeira and Lipsky, but you know how bad those guys are on the ground there. I highly doubt that she's getting Mullins out of there. So I do like this submission only line. I'm going to see if I can get that in. Because again, that one will push if she doesn't. We have a sprinkle on sub anyway, but that plus 105 is not a bad look actually. And then, honestly, the KO only is probably Luana Carolina. So instead of taking the side, you could probably take one of those two lines. Again, they push if they don't finish that way. I don't really see Mullins finishing by KO on the feet. If it is by KO and she does have it, it's that she can finish by ground and pound. She's pretty dangerous when it comes down to the ground with the ground and pound. So, but on the feet, it's all Carolina. So it's either ground and pound for Mullins, Carolina by body stuff, or submission for Mullins. But again, it's most likely goes to decision. So in terms of an overall prediction, I'll give you Mullins by decision, sort of thing, plus 180 if you had to do it. But I think, again, based on the line at plus 110, if you want that extra 70 cents of value, you can take the wins by decision. I'm okay with just taking the money line, and if she finishes, she finishes. I don't want to lose there. I'm already taking a shot on the dog, so I don't need to go a little bit crazy with the value there. If you want something a little bit safer, again, you take the fight goes, and then you don't care who wins. Luana Carolina can hit, like, again, I think she's okay as long as she doesn't get hit to the body or really wrecked to the body, and as long as Melissa Mullins doesn't sub, I think goes to decision actually pretty safe at minus 245. So I'll leave some of these into the slip here because I might have to go back and get them. The DraftKings line, I don't know if I can get in right now. Again, I have all of my devices here, so I will try to get it in as we go along here. So that's about it. If you want something long shot wise, you would have to look at these like fight parlays. I think, again, submissions long shot as it is. I couldn't tell you what time the sub round comes. You might look at maybe Carolina late in terms of a KO 2-3, something in that range. If you're looking for something crazy long shot, I don't know if I'm going to get there, but the KO 2-3 for Carolina plus 1200, not a bad look, I guess. If it's going to happen, it probably comes a little bit later. Mullins probably gets the takedown, hopefully early. Again, it's that fight IQ is, I would love to see her attack it right away. And then maybe you can, Mullins, I think, on the live line is more likely to get the takedown, move that live line into, a minus 300. Like, that live line should come down a lot once she gets that takedown round one. And then you could choose to arb off on Carolina after the takedown if she looks like she's slowing down. So that's one of the strategies that I will sometimes use. Is I'll play the dog and I'll come back on it live. So it is a strategy. But here, I think that Mullins can win outright. All right, moving on. Chanel Dyer versus Ravina Oliveira. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that this line's pretty wide. I don't think you can lay the juice at minus 450. Dyer, again, she's coming off a Contender Series where she lost on Contender Series, and she actually got dropped a bunch of times in that one. Didn't look the greatest, but her opponent there is, tight, aggressive, small, like always on the front foot, throws with power, and she caught Dyer a couple of times, circling off with the right hand, I believe, dropped her. So again, you're laying minus 500 on a Dyer that has a UFC debut that's been dropped multiple times, coming off of a loss. I don't know if you can lay that juice, but Ravina Oliveira is nothing special at all as well. She's 0-2 in the UFC. She's fought, better competition than Luciano and Lisboa, but the things that is what she showed on type is really not great at all. Like she kind of reminded me of like a boxer size type boxing. She really jumps into that 1-2 where she's trying to close the distance, but she's leaping forward and then throwing the 1-2. And really that's all she has is just the 1-2. You can see her try to throw kicks here and there, and they're really missing. And she doesn't really have the grasp on the distance management. She throws kicks, she's out of kicking range. She throws the punches, she's trying to close the distance, and that's why she's getting taken down. Right? She got taken down 3 times by Luciano, I think. And that was because she's jumping into these takedowns. All you have to do is really level change when she shows some aggression. You can get that on the fight down to the ground. Dyer, her takedown entries look pretty good. Her timing looks pretty good. Unfortunately, she just can't finish the takedown. So she tried to get Faro down a couple of times, just wasn't able to finish the take. She actually attempted 11 takedowns. And so I think if she can level change under the takedowns, and with Oliveira coming forward, she can work in the takedowns as well. And one of the things that Dyer's really good at is kicking at range and stuff, right? So I think that here it's a little bit different matchup for Dyer in that she gets to stay at kicking range. She gets to pop her volume off. Ravina really struggles with that type of range here. So I took a stab at Chanel Dyer by points. I think that she should stay at range. She should kick. She's a big kicker. She's not really big on the hands. In terms of the hands, not a ton of power in the hands. So if she does finish by KO, it could be like a head kick. She has a couple of head kick knockouts. I don't really see a finish from Oliveira. I think maybe she wants to get the fight down to the ground. I don't know if she can. You're taking a real stab here if you take Oliveira submission. But I think fight goes is pretty safe as well. Again, minus 240. The both first 2 fights are women's fights, both around that 240 range to go to decision. I think it's Dyer by decision here. So I took a half unit stab on Dyer. Because you can't play the money line. I wanted some action down, so I played half unit on Dyer decision. Wouldn't surprise me if she finishes her though. And yeah, I mean, even if sometimes I look at these like finish only lines, right? The minus 400 finish only line is probably a little bit better than the money line, to be honest, because I don't really see Oliveira finishing here at any point. I don't really see her winning by decision either, but I guess she can with some volume or some couple of shots. Dyer is a little bit hittable. She's been dropped, so maybe she drops her once or twice and enough to win a decision. But I don't know if she's finishing. I think the finish only line is a little bit safer than the money line here. So let's go over to DraftKings here. Let's see if there's anything else. Starts at the bottom, so we have to scroll all the way down. Well, I didn't talk about the spread bet. Let me go back. Okay, once we finish this one, I'm just gonna look at the spread because minus 5.5 Dyer. That's not bad. What's the 3.5 minus 160 on DraftKings? On Bet Online, minus 175. There's not a huge difference here between the minus 3.5 and the minus 5.5. I'm being honest in terms of the winning the rounds. If you win 1 round, if you win 2 rounds, the opponent wins 1. You don't cover the 3.5 or the 5.5. You just the odds get a little bit wanky. Yeah, I mean it's not. And let me check the same game parlay as well. I don't think it finishes, but this is what I normally do: is I go through all the options here. So we're gonna pick Dyer. We're gonna take over half a round, minus 380. Over 1 round, 265. It comes down a little bit. 1 round here, 250. Again, it's trying to get the big money line down a little bit. Maybe we'll come down in terms of strikes as well, because I think in terms of how the fight plays out. Oh, I messed up. Um, yeah, I might take a stab on the point spread. I think I'm okay with just the decision play as it is right now. Don't need to force anything. Trying not to like go crazy with this card. There's a lot of like unknowns, a lot of like debutantes or like contender series guys. The home field advantage. Dyer's going to be the home girls, so that's going to have a play in it in terms of the crowd making noise when every time she gets popped or throws something damaging and stuff, and it does have an effect. So, is there anything else here? Sometimes on DraftKings. Yeah, Dyer by unanimous decision is minus 110, but by decision as it is was, well, here it's minus 160. So it's a little bit better on FanDuel in terms of the minus 135 on FanDuel, minus 160 on DraftKings. FanDuel doesn't have a unanimous decision though. Yeah, and then I'm not, I don't know. I don't know if she can finish Dyer. Maybe could come later. You could take a stab if you wanted a long shot, some Dyer KO 2-3, something like that. But I'm not. I think it goes to decision here. All right, moving on. One thing I forgot to check here is that last fight, that first fight. I wanted to see. I don't think it's a bad play. Oh, see, no. The Mullins fight, you see her money line's plus 110, but the plus 3.5's minus 225. That's a big difference. That's basically telling me that the odds say that it's going to go to decision, that it's going to be pretty close, which it's going to be. And the one round, the 3.5 points is huge. So they give you at least $2.30 here to get the plus 3.5. I was hoping I could get to something minus 160ish, but this is a lot. Because again, Cornholio's been, Carolina has been taken down every single round, and I think it's once she gets taken down, she's going to lose that round. So I feel like things going to win at least one round. Just checking our bet online here before we do it. Three and a half. Oh, the strikes are there. Yeah. Forgot. Played that 3.5. Where'd the 3.5 go? They don't have 3.5. All right, they must have taken it away. All right, moving on. Shamrock Abdul Al Sawadi. Does anybody not call him Shamrock Shake? It has to be the Shamrock Shake. Like, what other nickname could there be other than the Shamrock Shake? Okay, so this one I don't have a play in yet. I lean Al Sawadi, but the problem is we haven't seen him in 2 years. He's coming off a 2-year layoff. He was coming in from I think some back injuries or something like that. So he's been off quite a bit, rehabbing it. From what we've seen on tape, he looks to be okay. He fought Loic back in March of 2024, so it's been exactly 2 years. Because the line's pretty close, I think that we can live bet this here instead of forcing something pre-fight and trying to guess what he looks like. Shamrock, on tape, hasn't really looked great at all, especially if he can't get the fight down to the ground. He sort of looks lost on the feet, very hittable, really only throws kicks. In that last fight, who's he fight against? Evloev, right? Aliev's mostly a wrestler. Aliev just picked him apart at range, landed, a bunch of times. He kept on going from orthodox to southpaw, then throwing the left straight, rocking Shamrock a couple of times. And the worst part was that he went back to his corner. Rock asks him, am I down 2 rounds? They say, yeah, you need to finish. And then he comes out and he does the exact same thing. He started kicks at range. There's no real aggression. He got the takedown at least once. And then Al Sawadi immediately got back up. So that was his only moment there. But I would have liked to see more aggression. You're being told you need to finish, come out and try something different. You're getting picked apart at range, try some flying stuff or whatever. Really didn't throw any hands here. So again, I lean Al Sawadi because the lines pick him. I think Shamrock's going to be looking for a takedown. Al Sawadi looks pretty compact, one of those fast guys, always moving. On the broadcast, they say that he tries to weaponize his cardio sort of thing. So no real issues with him slowing down. Again, we're making assumptions because we haven't seen him in 2 years. So again, I think that we can get some. I think that we can get some good information by waiting here and not playing the money line here right away. And then maybe Shamrock gets the takedown, and then that line shoots up, and then we can get Al Sawadi, plus 200 range sort of thing. So again, I lean Al Sawadi. I'm not playing it now. I'd like to get some more information or whatnot. But in terms of a pick, yeah, I take Al Sawadi by decision. We've seen Shamrock get rocked a bunch of times. I think he keeps it on the feet if he needs to. I think he sticks and moves and just doesn't let Shamrock gets close. That's probably the pick 175. Let's go over to DraftKings here just to see if there's anything different. Again, the plus 3.5 is a lot of juice. For Shamrock, minus 3.5. Yeah, maybe you could play the over. Is there like a sub-only line? What's the sub-only line? Should be Shamrock. Yeah, minus 310. KO should be Abdul. That's not even a bad line there. I take that. Some KO only Abdul. I think he has all the KO upside. I don't see Shamrock finishing Abdul by KO. It would have to be ground and pound, and even then, it looks like it's very hard to hold him down. First round only, also probably Abdul. There's no real difference, and then finish only should be Abdul. That one's yeah. So they're giving like Shamrock a good finishing equity and stuff here. I don't really see it. Maybe if he gets the fight down to the ground, maybe because he has all these subs and stuff. But again, that's why the sub only is good, but the KO only has to be Abdul here. So I play some the KO only. After this, I'll put them all in on DraftKings. I'm gonna erase the 5.5. We already have the decision here. All right. Anything else? Round props, winning method. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this one. Again, I'm going to attack it live more than try to fire a pre-fight with relatively unknown stuff. Just checking out the comments here. Cornhole, you guys love the Cornholio stuff. Bill Face says, you got reverse CLD on Riley, you're square. Yeah, definitely a square. Not a problem. Luis Sutherland, Brando Perichix. We do have a small play on this one. It was here on FanDuel. It's moved quite a bit. We had this, how will the fight end? Fight ends by KO. We got it at minus 150. It was at FanDuel here for a while yesterday or the day before. I think my guys got to it, ate it up. It was also on Bet Online at 145, I think. I think Brendo Pericic, okay, I'll tell you this. I don't really think Luis Sutherland is that good. I don't really think that he's UFC level. He's big, he's strong. He throws low kicks, and he's pretty athletic for a big guy. And that's about it. Like, his hands aren't the greatest. He seems to be a little bit wild with the hands, no real technique. Because he's so wide, it looks like his arms are a lot shorter, and he really can't like get into striking range. Pericic trains at City Kickboxing. He trains with all those, those killers, Adesanya, all those guys where he's getting day-to-day reps with these high-level strikers and stuff. I think this Pericic, again, he comes out pretty aggressive, and the reason I like KO, and you could actually take a round bet here. Oh, whoa, no. Pericic round one. Okay, plus 185. I thought it was plus 600. Because he comes out so aggressive. Pericic's going to be on the front foot. Sutherland, it's going to be orthodox versus orthodox. Sutherland loves throwing the outside low kick. He has a pretty good low kick, but so does Pericic, right? And again, I think training at City Kickboxing gets him familiar with the kicks. He must see that all the time with the kickboxing stuff. So he throws his own low kicks back as well. We haven't really seen Sutherland have to eat low kicks. So I think if it gets into like a low kicking battle, yeah, Sutherland can hit hard, but I think Pericic's a little bit more diverse with the striking. I think that he has the counter ability. If Sutherland, again, because he throws that low kick all the time, you see it in tape all the time. He has the ability to counter, throw the right down the middle, whereas Sutherland doesn't really counter the low kick and stuff, right? So especially early, I like Pericic. The only thing is, does he gas, right? And yeah, he can punch himself out, and then it could look a lot different once he's a little bit tired and stuff, right? But Beno Pericic only has 6 fights professionally. He did lose one of them. The one fight going to the second round, he got submitted. So that's kind of an unknown, not an unknown, but like it has to show some flags. Like he's finishing all 5 fights, 5 finishes in the first round when he wins. The one fight that got outside of the first round, he got submitted. He was completely gassed in that one, put in the rear naked choke and finish. Now, the cardio for Sutherland are actually pretty good. Like he moves around. He's shown some good get ups. Even when he's getting taken down, up, down. Just so he's gone to decision multiple times. I think it's a Percic here again, round one. If he gets him out of there, could go into round two. The other thing that I really think about is that Sutherland doesn't really put the pressure on. And yeah, okay, Percic can punch himself out and gas, but that means he's getting off some crazy damage. That means that Sutherland's close to getting finished and stuff. And yeah, Sutherland seems to have a chin. He's never been finished in his professional career, other than the Walter Walker heel hook. But throw that fight out. He does that to everybody, sort of thing. So it's possible that he takes a good amount of damage round one, and then comes back and wins round two and three. So if you like the Sutherland side, live bet it. He's going to get destroyed round one. That's almost a given. And then it's really dependent on Pericic really slowing down into the later rounds where you can get the most value. But then at that point, you can get Sutherland plus 500, plus 600. The fight goes to draw is probably live, because if you can't get him out of there, then Sutherland, what is that line actually? I don't play draw too often, but sometimes when I put the story in my head in terms of how the fight's going to play out, I think Pericic is a big favorite to win round one. And then again, he's shown the ability to gas and slow down a little bit. Draw 6,600 on Bet Online. It's always better on Bet365. I just don't have a 365 account. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of draw. It's going to be crazy. It's going to sound crazy, but we already have fight ends by KO. It's a sprinkle. It's how I think the fight goes, and so again, I'll take a little stab on draw, unofficial, but it's one of those like super long shots that nobody really sees coming. Right, it goes to decisions plus 400. But you can't argue that Pericic is a favorite to win round one. He should win in round one. Like if you wanted to play a round one bet plus 1E5, KO round one even. I always go to that green one here. What is it on DraftKings here? DraftKings. Like look at, for example, here, if I took a look at the round one only, Pericic round one only should be minus 400. Yeah, minus 360. That's most of his win equity. His finishing ability is early in round one. Sutherland has to be more later. I think both guys could win a decision. Like it kind of depends on how aggressive Pericic comes out. If he goes balls to the wall like he normally does, then it's probably an early finish. If he gasses, then it could be Sutherland late. And the other thing is, if Sutherland gets on top, like he doesn't really grapple, and I think Pericic is okay takedown defense. But if Sutherland gets on top, his ground and pound is pretty good here as well. Most of his KO wins for Sutherland come from ground and pound or elbows. I think the Newland fight was ground and pound. Brito fight was ground and pound. Most of the KOs, I don't think I saw a ton of on the feet KOs, maybe from leg kicks, but I think most of them coming from on the ground sort of thing. So I think Pericic is probably, the game plan is probably to stick and move, not stick and move, but keep the fight standing. I don't think he needs to get the fight down to the ground here. I think he's going to be the better striker, more dynamic striking, more kicks, more punches, better punches. Both guys pretty strong. Pericic, I've seen in some of the Instagram stuff. He's doing a lot of YouTube videos. He's picking guys up and just siming them. Most of them coming from body locks and stuff. So maybe it's like smashing on the ground and stuff. But again, I think fight ends by KO is pretty safe. I don't see submissions from either guy, not proactively. It might come down to one of those like super gassed type ones, but I think most of the times here, if it look at these lines here. So it doesn't go to decisions minus 550. and then we got fight ends by KO at minus 150. So you're going to tell me that the submission line equals the other $4? The line's off at minus 150, so we played that. I think it's pretty safe. What is it here on DraftKings? I think DraftKings was 200 or something. Yeah, 225 on DraftKings, but still, it's still not value compared to the fight doesn't go, right? So if you want to play fight doesn't go, just play KO. Perchich KO is probably the pick. Perchich round 1, you could go 650. I mean, you could look at some Sutherland KO 2-3 for a bigger line. It's only 750. Sutherland KO is already 350, so yeah, not really the best line for 2-3. You could even take Sutherland plus starts round 2, something like that. I don't know if he's getting him out of there round 1. Perchik's, again, the experience or the training partners. Maybe it becomes a brawl and goes rock'em sock'em and stuff, but again, I'm not going to force much else. I got this ends KO line, but if you wanted to get greedy, you could take round 1, you could take KO, that sort of thing. But I'm going to stand pat with what I have. I think that if you like Sutherland, just live bet. Wait to live bet him. I think you're going to get a better live betting line. All right, moving on. Starts from the top on FanDuel. Mantas Kondratavicius versus Antonio Broccoli. Yeah, like this line's super wide for Mantas. I won't go into detail here, but Tricoli just doesn't look like he's in it at all. He doesn't look like he's training. Doesn't look like he has anything. Back-to-back standing guillotines. He's supposed to be a black belt on the ground. He's supposed to be Antonio Dern. And just, if I was Mackenzie Dern, I don't know if I could, be caught in public with this guy after getting submitted like that back-to-back fights. Yeah, he's probably just there to collect a paycheck. So I lean Mantas. It looks like, if you give Tricoli an out, any kind of like big damage, put him into a tough situation, that he will probably take it. So it's probably Mantas, inside the distance, but it's minus 425. If you had to pick between KO and submission, I'm probably picking KO minus 165. So if you want some value there, that's probably the pick, minus 165 again. But because Tricoli's given up these guillotine chokes, yeah, I don't know. The fight against Shara that didn't end in round 1, that ended in round 3, that fight's a little bit different because Shara likes to circle the outside. He's more of a kickboxer from range. He doesn't really finish the position or chase the finish and stuff. Mantas seems to be that guy that really wants to go out there, get that bonus, put on a show sort of thing. So I think it's going to be early. I think it's going to be round 1. Maybe I'll do like a round 1 parlay of like Mantas and Perchich, both round 1, but the line's super juiced. I think the books know. I think it's going to be an early fight. What is the total? Where's the total here? I haven't played anything yet on the round. Yeah, you see the unders juiced at minus 260. Fight starts round 2, nose minus 148. It's just everything's so juiced. I can't play the money line at minus 750. Maybe you play the KO, and that's the only thing that really has value is the KO. I don't even like the under because the under is super juice either, right? I'd rather have KO at minus 165 than the under 1.5 at minus 260. It's just too much juice for me here. Let me check DraftKings, see if DraftKings has anything else. Contas. What's the spread line? So yeah, minus 800 on DraftKings, and the minus 7.5 spread is minus 650. You can't play that now. Humble on the chat says it's not like Tricoli's chin is that bad. Could be round 1 submission. Just sticks his head into something to collect a paycheck. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is like the money line's minus 800. The spread's minus 650. The finish is minus 3. No, yeah, minus is 550. So are you going to lay this juice on finish? No, you have to sort of like pick your poison. Now you're picking between KO and sub, and if I have to pick, I'm picking KO for obvious reasons. Yeah, I know Chicoli's been submitted, but he's technically supposed to be a grappler by trade. Mantas is a super aggressive on the feet. It's not like he's going to be shooting takedowns right off the bat. I think it's probably a TKO, and it's probably round one. I just don't like paying a lot of juice because weird shit happens all the time and stuff. But again, the prediction in round one, Mantas KO. I don't know if I'm going to get there. Maybe KO in a parlay, something like that. That's the only line. So yeah, you see, like Matas round one is minus 135, but KO is minus 165. I take KO all day, and I get the last two rounds rather than having Mantas sub one, which I'm not really too concerned with. Yeah, last thing, let me just look over here some of these finish lines. I think these should all be Mantas. Mantas finish only line should be a minus 1,000. Decision should be still there. Maybe you get some decision equity here, but minus 290, maybe something playable here. What is it on Rivers? Let's go over to Rivers because Rivers is the only one that has the decision only line. Mantas had a grappling fight last October. I could see Antonio shooting. Yeah. I think that's his path, though. Like, I think if Antonio does get it done for if he flukes a win, it probably is submission. If I'm being honest, yeah, I know he loses by submission quite a bit, but I think that's his go-to. But yeah, they're super there. 1,800 for a reason. 22. I don't really think Chicoli's that great of a hitter at plus 1,000. I think it's more sub, but now you're really grasping at straws and stuff. I don't, maybe you could take a blind stab, but you're probably just better off giving the money away. Yeah, again, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just can't play much based on the numbers. I think it's Mantas here by finish. All right, moving on. See, a lot of these fights, just the line's too wide that I don't try to force it and can't really get there. This is another one here. Mario Pinto, Felipe Franco. This one, I will say, I will preface this breakdown by saying I'm probably on an island here. And that's okay. I like being on an island most of the time. I like to go contrarian from the public, and it tends to do me well when I zig and everybody zags here. So basically, I'm not that high on Mario Pinto. I don't think he's that good. A lot of people thinking that he's like super amazing and stuff. I don't see it. And I watched a lot of his like regional stuff, and I watched his like UFC run and stuff. And here I'll tell you why before I get into like the actual bets and stuff. Mario Pinto does have a 5-round decision, a Kasima Raz. He has a couple of finishes earlier in the regional scenes in LFL. If you watch the Aras fight, it's 5 rounds. He wins a decision. It looks like a sparring match. He shows zero aggression. He shows really zero power. He really only spams outside low kicks, and then the strikes are like a 1-2 sort of thing. It's enough that the announcer, I think it's Robin Black, he actually says in that fight, I think that Pinto's throwing slow on purpose to get his opponent to get into a false sense of like timing and get his timing off. He's throwing so slow and with zero power that the announcer has to say, I think he's throwing slow on purpose. He's not that aggressive. He doesn't follow up. He doesn't like really push the pace and stuff here, right? And so he gets his Dana White Contender Series. He's minus 700 against Lucas Camacho. That one being like a minute-long fight. Mario Pinto ends up throwing 14 strikes in that, and he really just caught him with the check left hook. He was moving back, hit him with the check left hook. Camacho goes down, and he gets finished. Again, you can't get much out of that. It's a 1-minute fight. He got lucky. He hit the check left hook. Then he gets Austin Lane at heavyweight, right? And Austin Lane, we're going to talk about, but he's super chinny. And Austin Lane, again, doesn't throw much volume. Pinto throws 13 strikes in that fight. Austin Lane outlands him by 19 strikes. Austin Lane outlands Mario Pinto at range with 19 strikes. Austin Lane actually knocks down Mario Pinto with a clean right hand. This is Austin Lane, right? And then in round 2, I think it was like a same thing where it was like a right hand, a right hook, caught Austin Lane looking back a little bit, caught the chin, and he goes out cold. That's what Austin Lane does. He always gets knocked out. His chin is dust. So he gets back-to-back knockouts. Yeah, okay, big deal. The guys that he's knocking out aren't great. Then he fights an actual striker in Johanta Diniz, right? And you think, okay, here's the time where he's going to actually have to strike here, and he's going to get demolished on the feet. Or Diniz is a legit striker. No, but what he does to his credit is that he shoots takedowns. Right, he gets 3 takedowns on Diniz. He gets over 7 minutes of control, and he attempts 2 submission. But Diniz is a fish off of his back. He has zero answers from getting up. He's big and he's powerful, but he cannot get off of his back. So Pinto takes the path of least resistance, gets Denise down on the ground, and then just lays on him, sort of thing, and wins the decision. Great. That doesn't impress me at all. 3 wins, three, you took the path and you got there, sure, okay. But I don't see him as minus 900. Okay. Now Franco, I get it. He's gonna look like a fraud. I get it, right? People are gonna say he got fraud checked on all that stuff. I get it, right? Franco himself, 10 wins, 1 loss. That 1 loss coming on Contender Series. I will tell you, I had Franco in that fight. Freddie Vidal was coming off of a couch. He's like a school gym teacher, short notice. And but the thing with Freddie Vidal is that he's big, he's strong. He's like a Louis Sutherland in that he's just thick. He has muscle and stuff like that. So Felipe Franco normally wants to get the fight down to the ground, get takedowns, and then from the ground he works his submission and stuff like that. Most of his wins coming from submission. And he has KOs. He has power here as well. He came into that Freddie Vidal fight as a minus 550 favorite. Now, I just want to talk about this. Round one, he gets the takedowns. He gets 1 or 2 takedowns. He gets he gets Freddie Vidal down a couple of times. Actually, got him down 6 times. In round one, he got him down 4 times. So he gets big, strong Freddie Vidal down, the wrestling coach down 4 times in round number one. Freddie Vidal gets back up and actually reverses him in round number one, gets on top and actually does some damage. He's sort of like Gelton Almeida in that he got the takedowns but really didn't do any damage. He lost the position at one point and Franco got on top. Vidal got on top, laid on him, and then did a bunch of damage on top. Right, Felipe Franco is another one of those guys that only had round one finishes. He had 10 wins, all of them coming in round one. This was the first time that we saw him in round two against a big, strong Freddie Vidal that got him down, that laid on top, that punched him. So he starts to slow down a little bit. He actually wins round two against Freddie Vidal, and you can see both guys completely gassed. But he's coming back and he's landing some more shots. Franco is actually the better striker in this matchup. He actually gets the striking going and wins round number two. Round number three, it's 1-1 going into the third. He gets the takedown round three with like 3 minutes left. He stays on top for about that time. The last minute of the fight, he was cruising to a decision here. The last minute of the fight, he chooses to jump guillotine or something like that, and then Fidel gets on top, and then he smashes him, and then he sinks in the rear naked choke with like 10 seconds left. Ends up getting submitted by Freddie Vidal in the last 10 seconds. Horrible look, right? You should not be getting submitted by Freddie Vidal, but it's more of an exhaustion thing. He was completely gassed, had not gone 3 rounds before, not even gone out of the first round before, and loses that fight, right? But now everybody's saying he's fraud checked. He's complete garbage and stuff, right? He was minus 550 in that fight. He goes into the regionals. He fights a couple more cans, both first round finishes, and now he's back here on short notice. Long-winded excuse here to say, I think that the line is wide. I cannot play minus 900 on Mario Pinto. It's crazy to me. And I think that Felipe Franco will have some success when he's fresh in round number one. I think that he's going to get takedowns at least 1 or 2 times. And I think that this line on the live line is going to shoot down. So I think that you want Mario Pinto, you just wait. You can get Mario Pinto minus 200, minus 250, minus, maybe even minus 175 if he can not get back up. Felipe Franco to win round number one is not out of the question. I don't think that Mario Pinto, because he doesn't push the pace, I don't think grappling here is really a choice here. He could be the better striker, but again, he doesn't push the volume in the striking. So he's just going to be standing there waiting for Franco to come in. The live line's going to come down, and I think that I can get Pinto on the live line, again, minus 200-ish in that range. So the way that I've played it is I'm taking a shot on Felipe Franco on the money line, plus 600, plus 650. I think FanDuel or one of these other ones have wider odds here. If I lose, I lose. It's not a full unit. It's like half a unit here on Felipe Franco. I get that he's short notice. I get that, all this stuff, but minus 900 on Pinto is just crazy to me. I think at some point, again, I'm betting it. This is my style. This is how I do it. I'm going to be taking Franco on the live on the main line at plus 600. At some point when that Pinto line comes down after the first takedown, I will grab Mario Pinto at minus 200. I will be free rolling on Mario Pinto at that point. If he loses, whatever, right? So that's my strategy here. I'm going to be attacking it both pre and live with the intention of playing both sides. You guys can do what you want. You guys can lay the minus 900 if you want and say that Felipe Franco was garbage. I'm giving you a warning. I think the line's wide. I think that you can wait and get a better line. If he finishes Mario Pinto, it could be late. You know, I might actually take a stab here at Mario Pinto KO 2-3. I could take a stab at Mario Pinto decision. It's not a bad look because you know that's probably a long shot here plus 600, and you know I might actually play it because again he just doesn't push the pace, and everybody's thinking that Felipe Franco is going to gas in round one, which he has shown, and yes, it's short notice, but if Pinto doesn't push the pace, Franco doesn't have to exert the energy. If you're okay, so if you're thinking that Franco gets completely mauled, then just take round one and stuff. But if he doesn't push the pace and Franco doesn't get the takedown, it could be a staring contest here. So I like, I'm going to attack it live. I'm going to take a stab at Pinto decision. I'm going to try to find the best line on Pinto decision just for a small stab. And then again, live betting it. Maybe like a 2-3 KO is probably safer. But the line, they know, like it's plus 260 for a reason. It's not the best 2-3 line. Maybe you're hoping he survives, but nobody else is going to tell you Pinto decision, right? So it's one of those. That's why there's value, all that stuff. One of those. The books are juicing them for a reason, and then they get crushed. Just quickly here, just looking at DraftKings, if there's any other lines here on DraftKings, spread bets, no 7.5. You can't lay that again. Yeah, you got to get creative with the lines here, right? So everybody might take Pinto round one. Pinto's going to try to crack him on the feet round one. That's probably the worst thing that he can do here because he's supposed to be the better striker. He's supposed to be the longer, rangier striker. If he just goes in there and forces a firefight, then you got to take Then you got to take Franco KO one. Like Franco has a bunch of KO ones, and you're telling me that Pinto's going to come out and just try to absolutely wreck him. Then why wouldn't you take a stab on Franco round one, which is what? Franco round one is plus 1,800. Are you going to take the plus 100? Or are you going to take the plus 1,800 if you're saying that he's going to come out super aggressive, force the fight, and bring it to him? You're going to take the 18-1 shot and not lay the juice at minus. Like it's a no-brainer for me. If you're telling me that he's coming out super passive and taking his time and finding his openings, looking for that check left hook, looking for the counter, then yeah, I like him a little bit later into the later rounds and stuff after Franco starts to slow down and stuff. But I think this is a trap. Mario Pinto round one is a trap. I'll just tell you that right now. If I could play and if I could find, maybe I could find it. I even considered fight starts round two, but I think that Franco could win in round one. So I don't want to lose if Franco wins round two. Like, what's fight starts round two? Minus 132. If I could lay not Pinto inside or not Pinto round one at like minus 120, I think I would. Fight starts round two is pick'em here. If you gave me the Franco round one upside and just not Mario Pinto round one, I think I would take it and be contrarian here. I don't think Rivers has that type of line. I don't think anybody has that type of line. So, but keep that in mind. That's what I'm thinking. Again, he's minus 900 for a reason. So you can say, Art, you're crazy all you want. It's minus 900. You got to get creative with those type of bets. If you're going to sit there and parlay minus 900, go for it. Be my guest. But if I lose that big dog shot, I'm okay with that. Now moving on. Nathaniel Wood, Lucien Kita. I went back and forth on this, man. I think Nathaniel Wood is very good. I think he's very fast. I think he does everything very well rounded. Lucien Kita is coming in from KSW. He's coming in trying to make his UFC debut. Again, that last fight, he was supposed to fight Pitbull. Couldn't make the weight, couldn't cut the weight. Pitbull didn't accept the fight, and that fight getting canceled. So he's still looking for his UFC debut. I did see pictures of him. Looks a lot more shredded than last time. Looks like he will be on weight. Yeah, he's coming from Octagon. So in his octagon appearances, man, this guy looks super fast, right? He's super fast, super like fast twitch, moves around a lot. And Nathaniel Wood honestly kind of struggles with that type of speed and stuff, right? And he normally Nathaniel Wood is normally the faster guy. He moves around a lot. He works in his takedowns and such like that. So I think that the speed is going to be the biggest difference here. I think that Keita is going to be a lot faster. He doesn't tend to slow down from what I saw. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not forcing a play because I really want to get to Nathaniel Wood's side, but I understand that it's a bad matchup for him. I just think he's so well rounded that this could be the dog pick for me. Is Nathaniel Wood? It's just he gets cracked and he gets hurt almost all the time, so it might be again another better live bet spot. If Kita comes out and cracks him, then then we can get Nathaniel Wood at a big dog price. So don't be afraid or don't be surprised if you see me on Nathaniel Wood live at plus 450 or something after he gets cracked. But yeah, he got knocked down against Delgado. He got knocked down against Philly. John Dotson knocked him down. You know, he comes back, right? He's never, yeah, he got finished by John Dotson, but he fights through it. So again, I think that there will be a moment that it could be one of those things where Keita looks, or like Nathaniel Wood looks good. He looks like a pick'em type of fight. It goes back and forth. Both guys land. Both guys land. Wood's doing his thing and he's looking really competitive. And then he just gets caught with something that he just doesn't see. The speed. From a different angle and stuff, and he gets dropped. And then that's the round and stuff, right? And then is Keita following up? He might survive. If you take Ghost to decision, it's pick'em. If I had to make a play, I'm probably taking Ghost to decision. That might not be a bad play, but you're banking on Wood surviving. You're banking on Keita not finding the finish and stuff. I think that just Wood just has that experience, right? He has the experience to fight through it, knows what to do when he gets rocked and stuff. So you could take a dog shot on Nathaniel Wood here. You could take just a safer play. I think is goes to decision. The lines indicating that Keita by KO. Yeah, maybe, but it'd be tough. Like, I'd rather take decision than KO. And then if I'm taking this, I think that Nathaniel Wood's so live that I don't want to take Keita by decision. And Nathaniel Wood, fighting at home in front of the home crowd, gets that rub and wins a split decision side of the thing. So, what is Wood by split decision? It'd have to be what, plus 1200? Fight lines, winning method, win by split. Nathaniel Wood 900, so not big enough for me. Damn. I was thinking I might take a stab, but 900 is not big enough at Wood split. Wood decision only plus 300. I get it. If you like, actually, let me see some finish only lines here on DraftKings. Finish only line should be Keita. Decision only line. Yeah, this is how you play Wood here. But the problem is Keita can win a decision here as well. So it's not that you're being safe, but it protects you if Keita finishes. Round one only should be Keita. Yeah. Sub only should be Wood, I think. Keita has some more sub equity. So I'm going to take a look into that more. And then KO line should be Keita as well. Yeah. Spread bet. Oh, the plus 3.5 is not bad. Maybe I'll take that. Plus 3.5 at Pick'em. You're losing a bunch of value here. The 5.5 minus 125. Yeah, it's a big drop from 200 to 100 here. I'm gonna have to pick. I'm gonna have to come back to this. Whether or not I probably will land on fight goes versus doesn't go, and then just hope that these guys just look like a Dragon Ball fight where these guys are just throwing and things are missing, things are flying, and there's not a lot of power and stuff there. But might find a round one spread for Keita. Yeah. I might take fight goes and then maybe take a look at the live line here on Wood to see if I can get on Wood, or if the speed is like a lot, you'll be able to see within the first minute or so how much faster Keita is, and knowing that he really doesn't slow down. I think you're going to find opportunities, but maybe the speed isn't as much as I thought it would be. Maybe it's a little bit fast, whatever. And if Kita doesn't hurt him on the feet, then I think it can be very close. Dogger pass for me. Pinto. Oh, Pinto. Pinto round one spread. Yeah, I would take the other side. I would take Pinto round three spread, not round one. Mason Jones, Axel Souza. I will tell you that we played some goes to decision here. We played a little bit of juice. I don't remember the line that we got, but we played a little bit of goes to decision. I think that this one here, it's a tale of two styles here. Axel Souza being the karate guy, he wants to stay at range. He wants to flick kicks and stuff, be in your face. But the bigger cage favors his movement around. Mason Jones, going to be the more pressure fighter in your face. He does have, I believe, a judo background. He can work in some takedowns. Axel Souza has spent this camp, I believe, in Dagestan, working on some wrestling defense and stuff. But the thing is, Mason Jones, his takedowns come from trips and judo throws, not wrestling. So I don't know how much that's going to help him. He's probably training get-ups and stuff, which is going to help him. So maybe Mason Jones works the grappling and gets get-ups and such, right? But if I have to pick a side, I'm picking Mason Jones here. I think he has more ways to win. I think the forward pressure is going to get to Sola. Yeah, Sola looks good sometimes. If he fought up a weight class in that last fight, he looks pretty good coming into this fight here as well. But I think fight goes, it's going to be like one of those butt clenching fight goes. I think we're going to have a lot of those like moments where you're like, is it going to be a finish? And then eventually does. But I think that Mason Jones pretty durable, I guess. He's been knocked down by Oki. He got knocked down by Klein. You're gonna have those moments, and then he's always live. But in my mind, he doesn't. Yeah, he beat Balaji Oki after getting knocked down, but he couldn't finish Jeremy Stevens. Right, and Jeremy Stevens was fighting up a weight class on short notice, I believe. Couldn't finish him there, and then Sola Axel. Again, that Reese McKee fight, he fights Reese McKee up a weight class, ends up finishing McKee into the third round. But that finish came from body shots. And he was working the body pretty well, ended up hitting the liver a couple of times and folding Reese McKee by body shots. So the other two finishes there, elbows from Crucifix. He got some ground and pound, and then against Gagliov by ground and pound as well. He fought Imovov's brother, ended up in a draw, a 5-round fight going to the draw and stuff, right? So, uh, I think that this fight probably goes to decision. If I think you're better off taking a total than a side. Again, I lean Mason Jones, so if I have to pick a prop, it's Mason Jones by decision. That makes the most sense. But I think both guys can win by decision. I think that Sola can win by finish, but there's a lot of ifs in there. So again, I'm just going to pick goes to decision, and again, not force much else because I think that it could be pretty close. I think that the forward pressure of Mason Jones could be an issue, and I think that Mason Jones fighting at home could also give him, a lot of that, the home court advantage and the takedowns. We're assuming that Sola can get back up because he's fighting in Dagestan or he's been training in Dagestan. He's training with these like grapplers and such. So the assumption, and again, he looks stronger. But what if he can't get off his back? Mason Jones gets on top or at least gets multiple takedowns. So I like the upside with Mason Jones. You can take Mason Jones on the money line. Again, I'm taking goes to decision and just I don't really care who wins, just as long as they survive. See DraftKings if there was anything else here. -3.5. No, what's the spread the other way? Mason Jones 3.5. The other at -245. That doesn't look good. -190. You can see the over 2.5 is -230. We got fight goes around -150. So there's a big difference between the over 2.5 and fight goes. Finish only line is probably on the Sola side. If you like Sola, you could take finish only. Decision only probably on Jones' side, yeah. Submission only probably Jones. KO only side, yeah, about pick him. Okay. Yeah, if you like the solo line, you could take KO only. That's probably his path. I like decision. I think a lot of these ones will push. I like decision. Not confident. I've only taken it for a unit, but I think decision's not bad. All right, moving on. Any questions? Solo made round 2 very close, and was looking like he was going to lose round 3 against McKee. Yeah, but that was short notice up a weight class, and McKee's not the greatest, but he found a way to win. I don't. That's why taking goes to decision versus a side. Moving on. Mason Jones, are we on to the main card? Yes, we are on to the main card of the evening, starting out with a banger. Danny Silva, Curtis Campbell. Again, this one, I feel like I'm on an island here, and that's okay by me. What I do know is that UFC seems to loves this guy, Curtis Campbell. He's getting like custom shorts for his UFC debut. They're giving him the first fight on the main card. You know, yeah, he's impressive. He's only has 8 wins, 8 fights, 8 wins. He has an extensive amateur record. He was actually a champion in 3 different weight classes in the amateur ranks. I think featherweight, lightweight, and bantamweight sort of thing. And again, he's been training this. He's been training MMA since he was a kid. So again, he's pretty well-rounded. I think he also said that he had like 80 Muay Thai fights and things like that. So pretty good kicker. Again, again, he comes into contender series minus 625 favorite against Demba Sek. He ends up finishing with a knee. Demba Sek, I don't know if he read the rule books or knew that the rules has changed, but Demba Sek, Campbell wants to get the fight down to the ground, so you can see he's on Sek's back. He's laying on the, he's in that position where he has his hands on the ground. He thinks that he's touching the mat and that he's okay. And then Campbell throws a knee and actually rocks Sek on the fence, and then finishes up with KO or TKO and stuff like that. But that's, I think, Demba Sek just not knowing the rules, that he doesn't know that he's safe. I've seen that position quite a bit for Campbell, and he likes to throw that knee. When he gets the body lock on the back and you're standing against the cage, he will throw that knee. And yeah, it is one of his weapons. But again, I don't give it too much credit. He was expected to win that fight. So I actually posted out a YouTube video. If you go back to our YouTube channel, FightingStats.com, I actually went through and watched all of his fight career. So I have one video there we watched from the beginning against Hakeem Aslbrim all the way up until his Dana White Contender Series fight. So we watched everything. And so I got a pretty good read on terms of what he wants to do, what he's good at, what he's not good at. What he wants to do, again, he has all these Muay Thai fights. He wants to stay at kicking range. He has a diverse amount of kicks, low kicks, high kicks, body kicks. He has a liver kick finish. He has leg kick finish. He can switch from orthodox to southpaw, and he's actually very good at, when you throw a leg kick and miss, he will counter your kick with a leg kick of his own. It looks like Muay Thai, classic Muay Thai type striking here. But the thing is that we haven't seen a lot of his actual boxing or his hands. He wants to stay out at range, and he seems to do well at range where he's comfortable, but put the pressure on him, get inside boxing range, and he's a completely different fighter. As soon as you close that range and that distance, he's level changing in for a takedown and trying to get you down to the ground. His takedowns come from double legs, single legs, up against the fence. He has some nice trips, even back takes. He has a whole variety of takedowns, right? So I actually think his wrestling's pretty good. The thing that I don't think is very good is that his top control is not very good, right? And he's fighting these guys. These guys are, high level and stuff like that, right? If you watch the Sean Perro fight, it's a 3-round fight. I think that Curtis Campbell gets at least 20 takedowns, and it's because Perro keeps popping back up. Campbell's on the back, can only get one hook in, and Perro stands back up. Lima, the same thing. He gets to mount, and then Lima just stands up and gets out of mount position and stuff, right? The guys that he's really controlling, are lower level guys, and the guys that actually have some wrestling credentials or, some actually grappling, they continue to get back up. So Lima gets back up, Perro gets up. Lima was a 5-round fight. He chose to play more BJJ off his back and sort of accept the position a little bit more. But Danny Silva's not that type of guy. I don't see Danny Silva fighting BJJ off his back and staying there. Danny Silva has not. He gave up 2 takedowns in the last fight against Kevin Vallejos. I'm not going to give him credit for that because Kevin Vallejos is not really a grappler. But we did see how good Kevin Vallejos is in that last fight, right? He has some power. He has some the ability to crack. Kevin Vallejos hit Danny Silva clean a bunch of times in that fight with that overhand right. Danny Silva ate that shot and continued to keep coming and stuff. So, one, I know that Danny Silva has a chin. Two, I know that Danny Silva can counter grapple. He's got taken down by Vallejos, yeah, okay, but he stuffs all those other takedowns by Almeida, Kulabal. Again, I'm not giving him much credit for that. The last time that he really got taken down and controlled was by Khan Kawai in the regionals in LFA. I think that Kawhi got 2 or 3 takedowns, but I don't think he ever gave up too much control. I think he got down, and then the same thing where Danny Silva popped back up and stuff, right? So, one, I give Danny Silva the experience factor. I think that he's very hard to hold him down. I think that his takedown defense is okay. I think that he can defend some takedowns, and I think if he does get taken down, he can get back up. So, that part will be the issue and stuff, right? So I think that the fighting style of Danny Silva can make this a very interesting and close fight. You got Campbell making his UFC debut in front of his home crowd, a full packed stadium, the first fight of the main card. He's going to feel some octagon jitters. Danny Silva coming in as the underdog, enemy territory, but really nothing to lose. And I think that Danny Silva, he doesn't really take a back step. So Campbell's not going to get that kicking range off. He's not going to get the kicks because Danny Silva is going to be crowding the kicker. He's going to be in his face. He's going to get volume off. Campbell's not going to like the pressure. He's going to shoot for takedowns. If he gets the takedowns, I think that Danny Silva will pop up and get right back into his face here. So it's going to be a lot of rinse and repeat takedowns up, down. Danny Silva might do some bigger shots with his actual hands. Curtis Campbell will hit him with a couple of kicks at range. But if Danny Silva can stay in that pocket, he can make it very competitive here. So all that to say, I'm going contrarian. I'm betting against the grain. I'm taking a shot here on Danny Silva, plus 184 right now on FanDuel. It's not a confident read. You know, there's a couple of unknowns that we're sort of guessing here with Campbell. We're just saying that Campbell is an amazing high-level wrestler and has amazing control and can hold Danny Silva down and get knocked out or at least take a punch. There's a lot of unknowns where I know what I'm getting with Danny Silva. I'm getting a dog. I'm getting forward pressure. I'm getting great boxing. I'm getting a granite chin, and I'm getting good cardio and stuff. So all of that gives me a dog shot here. Yeah, if Curtis Campbell comes out, I think that if Curtis Campbell wins, it's going to be probably decision. He's going to do what he did to Lee, or he's going to do what he did against those other guys, and he's just going to chain wrestle. He's going to chain grapple. He's going to look like he might look like Evloev out there, just getting takedowns, rinse and repeat, back up, back down, not doing a ton of damage. You know, I believe that if he gets the takedown, Campbell gets the takedown on Danny Silva, he's going to have those hands locked. He's going to keep the control on the body. He's going to do zero damage when he actually has the control on the back. As soon as he postures up and tries to do damage on Danny Silva's back up and back in your face again. So that's those X factors that I see on tape. Not a lot of people will see them and give them to you and stuff, but that's how I see Danny Silva winning. I could see him, honestly, like, you guys are going to think I'm crazy here, but Danny Silva round 3 and round 2. Well, Danny Silva always in round 3. He looks like the Matrix out there. He can see everything coming by then. He has the guy's timing. He's like bobbing and weaving. He's in your face. He's talking shit. He does everything well in round 3. And if it gets to that point, I can see him really putting on the pressure here. So I think that Danny Silva should be a favorite, honestly, to win round 3. I think that, Curtis Campbell probably a favorite to win round 1. I think it could be pretty close. And so I think that Danny Silva has a path. I think if it's a lot safer if you want to play fight goes, don't take a side, take fight goes. I don't think you can lay this juice, with Campbell anyway. For me, it's dog or pass. I'm going to take a shot on Silva, but I think this fight goes is pretty safe because I don't think that Campbell is. Well, I like on the feet. I've seen Danny Silva eats big shots, so I don't think he's going to get put out. On the ground, it could come from ground and pound, but I think as soon as Danny Campbell postures up to ground and pound, then Danny Silva's back up anyway. I think the sub could happen. So Campbell's sub plus 600. I just haven't seen a ton of subs from him. He got like a half-assed rear naked choke on Pero, I think, and couldn't finish it. He had a half-assed guillotine and couldn't finish it there. Danny Silva's a dog. I don't give submission that high of an equity. I think it's possible. I think that's the game plan, is to get multiple takedowns, get the fight down to the ground. I think Campbell, could look for the submission. I just think that Danny Silva is going to keep him in front of him, not risk it, and I think fight goes is pretty safe. So don't take a side. If you don't want to take the big dog shot with me, that's fine. Take fight goes, and you're probably pretty safe with fight goes. And again, I might throw in a Danny Silva KO 2-3. We have not seen, again. It's a big question mark. What does Curtis Campbell look like when he is the nail? We've seen him be a hammer, control him, get on top, grind on people, just look dominating, right, from start to finish. But have you seen him on bottom? Have you seen him take a big shot? Have you seen him be put into bad situations where he really has to dig deep and get out of? I haven't. I watched his whole fight career. I haven't seen him really have to like struggle out of it. So how can you say that, he has that ability, he has that dog in him? Yeah, it's safe to assume that he should, but you don't know that, right? So I'm taking what I know. I'm taking the dog shot here on Danny Silva. Long-winded breakdown, uh, but that's why I'm taking a dog. User said, "Will this be saved to YouTube? I need to go to sleep." Yes, it's we're streaming on YouTube right now, so it's going to be on our channel, YouTube.com, and then under live, you can find it there. I might try to upload it as a live thing as well, or just a standalone video. I'll post it to our Patreon as well. Again, join for free. You can watch the replay on the Patreon. QR code in the corner there. But moving on. What do you guys think of this stream so far? You guys like this type of content? Again, I do this every night, or I'm trying to get it more regularly, every Thursdays on our Patreon. Again, I go through it. We go through what we actually have, and then we look at some long shots and whatever else. So it helps me organize for the rest of the card. Again, I'm a high volume guy. You'll see, our record here. Each card we have 40 to 50 some plays each one, so that's the type of volume I have, but I'm playing everything that I find from these type of volume. And again, there's strategies involved. It's not just taking a money line. I think you need to know the fight more to get this type of like bets out. If you're just looking at records, then you're just picking a side and you're just calling it a day. But if you know how the fight's going to go, then you have a little bit more know-how, and there's more value on some of these longer shots. Tim says, yes, it's great. Logging in my notes, waiting for placing. Don't take my word for it. A lot of this breakdown you can go find out for yourself. If you are going to listen to somebody, at least take their information as value, and then go check on and do your own due diligence, right? Just don't listen to some guy because he says he's so, just because he has a nice flashy record and stuff like that. But just take it as more information and double check. All right, moving on. Roman Dolidze, CLD, Christian Leroy, Duncan. I think this is Duncan all day. I don't think that highly of Roman Dolidze. I think that he's slow. He's a plotter. I think that Duncan, has found himself in those last couple of fights. He's looking so improved. But I can't lay the juice. And another one where it's big juice. Duncan fighting at home. Duncan does a lot of stupid shit. And like he's spinning all the time and he's like doing these like flashy stuff here. And Roman Dolidze really only needs one thing, right? So it would not surprise me at all if Duncan is winning the fight, looking like minus 1,000, just picking apart, looking great, and then he tries to show off, does like a spinning back elbow and literally just gives Dolidze his back, and now Dolidze is on his back on the ground. Dolidze doesn't get credited with a takedown, but somehow he's on the back and he's like very close to getting a submission and stuff, right? So if you like the Dolidze side, you can take submission. That's probably the only way he wins. Knee bar, heel hook, some kind of ground game and stuff like that, right? If you told me Dolidze comes out and proactively tries to grapple, he would have immense value here at plus 340. I just don't think he does. He's never really done it, right? The last guy he got down was Kevin Holland, Anthony Smith, at the tail end of his career. And then you would have to go back to 2021 where he got multiple takedowns against Laureano Staropoli. He got 5 takedowns. He's a great guy on the ground, right? He can grapple and stuff, and that's his path. But why is he not shooting takedowns, right? Against Marvin, he fought Marvin Vettori twice. And Marvin Vettori is a plotter on the feet. He has volume and stuff, but those are the type of guys that you should be getting down here. And same thing with Hernandez, okay, I get it, because Hernandez is going to do that to you. You don't really have the ability there. Imava, he should be. No, he attempted 4 takedowns. Imava, another French kickboxer, should be trying to get the fight down to the ground here. But Imava goes to decision with him. Marvin Vettori goes to decision. Like his wins, I think. Oh, the Kevin Holland one, he broke a rib in that one or something like that. Vettori is not a great win, 5-round fight, and then Anthony Smith, the retirement fight. So again, I think that Leroy Duncan gets it done. You know, I'm gonna say, like, if I have to pick, this is the problem here, is that I don't like the money line. The money line's a little bit wide for me. I don't really like to play huge favorites. Um, so minus 470, minus 500 is kind of wide for me. Now I have to pick. Now is it going to be Duncan KO or Duncan by decision? Because I can't play money line. So now I have to pick, and you know what? Whatever I pick, it's not going to win. My lean is that he wins by decision. But he spins so much times, like it's so random when he hits you with like a spinning back elbow. I think Duncan's going to be so much faster on the feet. I think the random KOs, like the elbows and stuff, are very live as well. But the leads, they should be able to withstand damage and win a decision here, or lose a decision. Duncan by points is plus 155. You probably eat the juice a little bit and take Ghost to decision if you're picking them. Like that's how I sort of like bounce back, right? So I start with Duncan on the money line. I say Duncan money line's too much. Minus 470 is too much. I can't play it. Now I have to pick between points and KO. I'm gonna go. My gut says points plus 155. Then I say compare 155 Duncan points with Ghost to decision plus 110. I'm losing 45 cents. I'd rather be safer and take goes, because maybe if he spins the leads, it gets on top. He locks in the submission, and maybe he wins minutes because he's locking in the submission, or maybe he's on the legs and he's on a heel hook or something like that. So I play it safer and play 112. That's how I get to Ghost to decision. I don't have a bet yet on this fight. I don't know if I'm going to play Ghost to decision. I even looked at this like finish only type of line. I don't even know if I can get a live line here. It might be just one that I just have to pass altogether, just because I don't like any of the numbers really. Yeah, don't go to plus 130. Like it'd be more for action. Maybe right before the fight, I'll play up a couple of dollars just to have something on the fight. Maybe this. Maybe a 7.5. Maybe minus 7.5. What's the 5.5 minus 150? 3.5 minus 190. Because if you play this 7.5 here, if Duncan finishes, great, you win. If the fight goes to decision, you're still live. You still have outs if Duncan can win a clear 30-27, which I think he can. So I might stab the Duncan 7.5. Let me just take a look before I leave. I always take a look at same game parlays. Duncan and half round 300. Duncan and full round minus 205. It's not going up. Like if it was got to pick 'em, I would definitely play it. Minus 185. So you can get Duncan minus 185 if you give away a round. I don't know if I want to do that. It's not the greatest number. All right, moving on. I might play the minus 7.5. I don't know yet. I try not to, like, sometimes I force some action just to have something on every fight, but I also try to like not get too crazy. You won't see me playing these huge dogs and stuff. Dixon Sider says, "Don't delete this live stream." Yeah, you'll leave it up here again. Thanks for all the support, especially Dixon Sider. Again, for all the love on YouTube and stuff. So I'll leave this up for this week. You can come back and see how good we did or how crap we did, but we'll find a way to win. Not a worries. Again, it's on Instagram. It's on X. You should be able to find those replays. I don't think I can take them down. All right. Couple more fights here. This one went a little bit longer than expected, but I started at yeah, only an hour and a half in. So yeah, if I tried to do these fucking full card breakdowns, I would be here for like 4 hours, because my my breakdowns, like I posted the main event and I posted the co-main event. Both of those breakdowns were like 20, 25 minutes, half an hour. So, I can ramble on and on about fights and how I see the fights going. So, these full card breakdowns can get a little bit tedious and stuff because I like to talk about everything, all these different angles on how to approach fights and stuff. So, um, smash the like. Thank you, sir. Tico says this is fire. You're not going to find this type of information anywhere else. You're going to get, yeah, I like this guy. He's 4-1 in the UFC. That's why I'm liking him to win. Or he's fighting at home. All that stuff, right? So just do the main card again. Yeah, main card breakdowns. Maybe. Ero Baranowski versus Austin Lane. I was at this last fight, Baranowski's last fight against Ivo Aslan. What a crazy fight. We had Iwo in that fight. We also had fight starts round two, unfortunately. But that was a crazy fight to be at, to watch. Went back and forth. Both guys got knocked down a bunch of times. I think the chin on Baranowski, he's durable. He's getting caught, he's getting dropped, and he's getting back up. But it was a 50-50 fight, right? If he loses that fight, what does this line looks like? He looks like he has a ton of power. He cracks and he can be quite aggressive. Austin Lane he doesn't look like he has it. He's dropping down from heavyweight down to light heavyweight. He's going to be a massive light heavyweight. It's going to look like the Bruce Lee movie with Kareem Abdul, just like a massive light heavyweight with that light, like nice range. And Austin Lane does have a nice long jab, but that's about it. I think he has a football background. He has a football tackle of a takedown. Maybe he gets that going and stuff, right? Um, I think he took Denise to the second round with takedowns. He took Pinto down with takedowns. He even got Rebellis. Despite, hey, I was on that fight. The Rebellis was minus 500, minus 400 or something. We took Austin Lane by decision, plus 1200 or something, and we ended up cashing. But this one against a hard hitter here, maybe he grapples. Yeah, I guess he would try to grapple. Yeah, he tried 8 times on Dispellis, got him down 3 times. Against Petrino, you probably can't grapple. Um, Trying to think now if grappling is a path here. Again, I always like to go contrarian. So right away I take a look at like these round props and stuff, but it's hard for me, right? The fight starts round two plus 150. That's immediately what I think when I look at these type of fights. When I think of these things, this is more of a, I hope Austin Lane, you just grind it out a little bit, you play it smart, and you try to get takedowns, you try to grind on a little bit, you play it safe, because Austin Lane's chin is completely dust. Right, as soon as he gets touched, he's going out and he's spinning out. Right, he has 6 losses in his career, and I think 5 of them were knockouts. 5 of them were round one knockouts. So sorry, 4 of them were round one knockouts. One was Denise round two knockouts, and then that last one he got taken down and just insta sub by Petrino and stuff. Right, so Austin Lane is not great. I'm surprised he still has a contract, but he's fighting like really low level guys. Despain's no longer in the UFC anymore. Even losing to Tafa, not great. So he wins a contender series fight, and then he fights Rebellis Despain. Those are his 2 fights. Even got knocked out by Greg Hardy back in the day, which is again horrible look here. So Baranowski, we've seen how wild he can be. We've seen that he can crack. You feel like as soon as he touches Lane, he's going to go down. And if his chin was bad at heavyweight, the extra weight cut, getting dehydrated, getting down to 205 is probably not going to help the chin at all. Maybe because Baranowski doesn't throw or doesn't have the heavyweight power, but he still throws hard and he still cracks and stuff. So the gun to my head, it's obviously Baranowski for me. It's going to be Baranowski by KO. I think I got an early line here. It's minus 195. I think we got minus 170. And I think I'm okay with that. We got Baranowski KO. Do you want to get crazy and take Austin Lane points? No, that's just too crazy here. Yeah, who knows? Who knows if he even makes weight and stuff. I haven't seen any pictures or something, so I'll be watching the weigh-ins tomorrow to see what Lane looks like at 205. I would assume he has to be shredded. FanDuel has some significant strikes. I'm gonna have to come back to this. But I think again, in terms of value plays, against the prediction is going to be Baranowski round one KO. That's easy, right? Everybody's going to play that and say that that's easy, but it's minus 105 for a reason, right? So if you're looking at value, you take a look at the round two KO. It's you're looking at $7 difference between round one KO and round two KO, and we've seen Lane push guys to the second round, right? We've seen him like again, he got KO'd by Pinto in round two. He got KO'd by Denise round two. So if I'm taking a stab here, I'm going to take Baranowski KO two or even 2-3. I don't think he gets there, but 2-3 is 480 versus just the two is 600. You get a whole extra round. That's probably what I'll do is probably stab this. And again, maybe if I'm feeling frisky, I'll take the plus 150. What is it? Let me see here. Because this is the time where you can actually get some good value. Again, I'm looking. We're going to same game parlay. They don't call me the same game parlay king for nothing. We take Aaron Baranowski and we take the over half a round. That's probably what I'm going to do. You can't see it on stream there, but it's minus 155. I'm gonna give Austin Lane 2.5 minutes to survive. 2.5 minutes. And I'm gonna get Baranowski from minus 575 down to 155. I'm gonna play that now. For you fuckers, ruin it. But I think it's a good way of getting that down. Even if you go 2 minutes, yeah, it's the half round. That's a fucking good deal. That's a good price. Okay. And if he searches him with the first punch and stuff, great. We lost, right? But hold on. Seeing if I can log in, place it here while I'm on stream, because I know you guys are gonna hit it. Oh, never mind. Oh, wait. All right. While that is loading up, let's move on. Dixon says like Anders versus CLD. Yeah. All right. So these next three fights here, I have a pretty good read on. Pretty confident that I know how all three of these fights will go. Just some X factors here are might change it up here. Okay, so this is Michael Page versus Sam Patterson. I will tell you right out of the gate that I tend to always bet against Sam Patterson, and I always tend to bet on Michael Page. So right off the bat, it's kind of obvious who I'm going to like here, and for obvious reasons, I think that Michael Page, like people don't realize how much of a puzzle this guy is, and he's impossible to game plan for. Nobody else is like him, so you can't even compare. You can't even go back to tape and see like how did he do in this situation and stuff. Michael Page is unlike no other. Like his karate or like the taekwondo background, his kickboxing background, he doesn't get hit. He's in, he's out. He's so good with that movement. And Patterson is not he does not do well with that movement. He doesn't, he's not able to close that distance. He doesn't really strike while moving. He normally plants and throws. So I think that Page is going to be there, and then he's going to be not there. And Patterson's going to be throwing at air and not getting hit. That's one thing. The other thing is Patterson is so goddamn hittable that I have such a hard time playing him against harder hitters because I know how open he is. And it's not even like he's fixed it. And they talk about it on the breakdowns all the time or on the broadcast saying that, he keeps his chin up in the air and he continues to still do that, right? And you go back to, we'll start at the Yanal Ashmus. That was at 155. Yanal Ashmus was like 10 inches shorter, 10-inch small inch reach. He just throws his overhand right. And because Patterson's always been the taller guy at lightweight, just tall man defense, just moves his chin back a little bit. He gets cracked and he goes down. He loses by KO. He's out before he hits the ground. Johan Leniz, we were on Leniz in that one. Again, we thought that he was going to get there. You actually see Johan Leniz throw that overhand right that he likes, just misses the chin. And then, for some reason, he backs Patterson up into the cage. He tries to grapple with him. Patterson gets the takedown and insta chokes him 2 minutes in. Why? Then you go to Kiefer Crosby. Same thing. Kiefer Crosby starts landing on him, landing shots in the striking. Same thing. Kiefer Crosby now goes in for a takedown, gets reversed and gets choked out. Why? Like why? Danny Barlow, he fights left hand from God. He's a southpaw. I figured he was going to starch him with that left hand all day, and he was. He was landing. He was landing the bigger shots. You could see Patterson like eating it, not really doing good. Barlow was winning that fight up until he wasn't. And at some point, Barlow gets super aggressive. He backs Patterson up against the fence, and then he gets into the pocket. He squares up. Patterson just throws this like check right hook, hits Barlow on the chin, and puts him out. He was losing that fight up until he wasn't losing the fight anymore. Same thing with Trey Waters. Trey Waters was jabbing his face off. He was getting him, there was like a broken nose or like blood was already starting to come out of Patterson's nose. And same sort of thing. He hits him with the right hand. Trey Waters goes down. So I think about the how he's getting these finishes. Again, I don't think he's that good. He's getting touched until he doesn't get touched. And I think Michael Page is just such a puzzle to find out that Patterson doesn't have the experience of dealing with that type of fighter. I think that Patterson's going to have to get the grappling going, but that's the game plan against Michael Page all the time, is to try to get him down. He knows that that's the game plan and he trains it and stuff, right? So I think that Michael Page keeps the fight standing, and probably styles on Patterson here. Now, a couple of X factors here just to think about. These guys are training partners. The guys, I think, I was watching Michael Page interview, and he's saying how again they used to train together. That this is gonna work. Okay, that Michael Page brought Sam Patterson in for the Shara Bullet fight, for the Ian Gary fight, for the Kevin Holland fight, because Patterson's a lot taller and longer. So he was brought in to mimic these longer guys and stuff like that, right? And so he's had at least three training camps with Sam Patterson before. He knows what Patterson can do. I'm pretty sure that MVP has his timing down, whereas even then I don't even know if Patterson can deal with it or has dealt with it and stuff. But I did hear, in that same interview that he's talking about how Sam Patterson, what he's really good at is sometimes he can get this Darce choke and the Anaconda choke out of nowhere. And he just sets it up and he gets them and he's like so sneaky with it. I'll post the interview soon. I posted on the Patreon already. You can go over there and see it. But I think that if you want to take Patterson, again, these are long shots and they're long shots for a reason. But you're talking about your opponent, and you're talking about having training with him for 3+ training camps. You're talking about how good he is and how sneaky Sam Patterson is at getting these anaconda chokes and Darce chokes. So what do? I come over here to BetMGM, and I bet. Again, these are long shots, and they're long shots for a reason. Darce choke, 25 to 1 plus 2,500. Sam Patterson anaconda choke plus 5,000. You can't see it there on screen, but you're getting two of those chokes where Michael Page has said in an interview specifically that Sam Patterson is very good at these chokes, very sneaky with them, that he gets them all the time. It tells me that Patterson has probably got Michael Page in those chokes at least once or twice in the training. That's the best thing that you can say about him. I'm playing it at plus 2,500, plus 5,000. I'm taking a stab because I don't think that Sam Patterson is going to win. But if he does win, it's probably by submission. I don't think he's going to knock him out on the feet. I don't think that Patterson's going to find him. I think that Michael Page actually has more finishing upside here because I think that, again, because he's so hittable, Michael Page is going to find those openings. Patterson's going to think that he's not at range or, he's okay. And Michael Page is just going to close that distance, pop his 1-2, bop, bop, and then drop Patterson here. So, my gut says, I guess when I first saw the line again, you're looking at Michael Page minus 178. I like him on the money line. I really like him on the money line. I don't like it as much anymore, and that's a different story. But if I had to make a play with no information or whatever, I'm taking Michael Page by Michael Page by decision. Now I think he's live to start him at any point at any round. by anything, right? He dropped Cannonier twice, and Cannonier's the 10 times the striker that Sam Patterson is, and he's also very durable. Michael Page just sort of emoted after he dropped him and stuff like that. So yeah, I think you can find the KO here. I go back and forth between the KO. I know that Patterson's so hittable. Michael Page has not really been a heavy-handed guy, but it's the speed that hits him, and again, the training camp and the familiarity will get there. And I think just the you're my buddy. I don't want to finish you. I'm going to win because they wanted us to fight together. I'll take you to decision. I'll carry you. If I drop you, I'll let you back up, sort of thing. So I could see that type of fight here. So I'm going to take Michael Page here by decision. Um, but I don't want to get super invested in this fight here. But I think that this is all him. Looks like FanDuel has some. No, you see Page knockdowns minus 104. I this is okay. So this is one thing about FanDuel. If you don't know, or any of the betting sites, really, a lot of these sites now, because we've destroyed them with the knockdowns and the takedowns and everything like that, they're so scared to give two-way lines that they only give one-way lines. So you're getting takedowns here, all one-way lines. You're getting Page knockdowns at minus 104. If you would give me like a Page under knockdowns, I would probably take it. But they don't give two-way lines anymore because they think it's so risky here. They can set whatever they want with a one-way line at minus 104, but if you give the under, they're going to get destroyed here. So I tend to be cautious because again, you can set whatever you want because it's either you take it or you don't take it. It's like they know where to set their edge and stuff, right? Yeah, I'll come back to these ones. This finish only line's not bad. I think it's decision only for Page, right? Because he's probably wins a decision. Sam Patterson has to like pull magic out of his hat to land a KO. Sam Patterson has to like get a trips, slip on banana peel and get him down to the ground, and then maybe find that sub. But I'm okay with the Dars and Anaconda, and then everything else Page. I think Page styles on him. Again, it's whether or not he finishes or not. That's the only question that I don't know. This is gonna go like Kevin Holland and Wonder Boy. Yeah. Oh yeah. I could see that. Gentleman's agreement to not go on the ground. They just shake hands, and it looks like a 3-round sparring match. You could take Fight Goes. Fight Goes is probably pretty safe again. I don't think that even if Patterson gets the takedown, I don't know if he's going to finish him or sub him on the ground. Page has been pretty good. He's been defending that, so I think he survives here. All right, moving on to the co-main. I won't go deep into the breakdown. If you want to get the full breakdown for the Riley Aswell fight, you can go to the YouTube channel. It's like a 25-minute long video. I will not recap the 25 minutes here. All I will say is that I have some money on Luke Riley, and I have some money on Luke Riley finish only. Now, you might say that Luke Riley is kind of chinny, which I get it. But I just don't think Aswell has the finishing abilities, right? So I think that Aswell, he's very good. I think that his boxing is very crisp. I think that his volume is pretty crisp, and his durability and his cardio, all of that are A plus, right? So Aswell has all of the tools to make this fight interesting, but it's the extras that Aswell doesn't have that Riley does have. One, outside low kicks. Riley likes to fight at distance. He will throw kicks at range. It's going to be orthodox versus orthodox. So as it is, Riley will stand outside and he will spam outside low kicks. He will force Aswell to enter the pocket. Aswell will have to enter the pocket because Aswell doesn't throw kicks and he doesn't have any kind of long range weapon. So he has to be in a firefight where he has to sort of create his 1-2s. I said on the breakdown, he kind of reminds me of Volkanovski in his fighting style where he's outside at range and then he jumps in, he's pop up 1-2 and he's back outside. And then he jumps in, pop up 1-2-3, and he's back outside. He looks pretty fast, but his striking is very meat and potatoes. I said that a lot of 1-2s, 1-1-2s, ones, twos, everything down the middle, everything straight, very crisp boxing, great volume, but just not a lot of power punches, nothing really flashy to the judges, and nothing to really put a stamp on the round. That's the biggest thing here is that Aswell could go toe to toe with Riley. The significant strikes will be like 40 to 40 for each round. And Riley will have all of the bigger moments, the bigger shots, the leg kicks, the knees, the crowd going ooh and ah. And Riley will just win those rounds because he just does more. Aswell will be competitive. He won't go away. He'll be in his face. He'll have the boxing, but Aswell's not going to throw a big right hand and Riley stumbles back and whatever. He's going to land and Riley's just going to eat it and come forward again, right? So that's the biggest thing here is the home field, the crowd making the bigger noise, the outside low kicks, and Riley just visually just doing more on the scorecards. I can see like a 29-28. I think it could be pretty close. I just think that Aswell doesn't pull away in any of the rounds. He doesn't do enough damage for me to really say that he clearly won that round. I think by live betting it, we're going to be up in the air. Scorecard's going to be everywhere because it's going to be like, I could see that round going to Aswell. I could see it going to Riley. And then I think that a lot of the Aswell bettors will cry that, it's going to be a robbery sort of thing. It probably like a 29-28 Riley decision. And then where Aswell looks like the value side, but ends up losing. But that's the biggest difference is that Aswell doesn't have the ability to win rounds on the judges' scorecards. So I like Riley here because I think that he has that upside. I don't think that Aswell has a lot of finishing. So if you take Aswell, take him by decision, plus 490. That's probably the way to do it. Even Aswell split, because you know that you're gonna get some hometown judging in there. One guy gonna give it to thing. Even if if fight's a clean fight, you still might have one guy Riley because he does more leg kicks or something like that. Aswell split 1600. Let me just see on Bet Online if it's any more. And then I might play it. Where'd it go? What am I blind? So Lakita, Birchich, Tricoli, Franco, Rock, Oliveira, Carolina, Murphy, Aswell. Right there. Just open your eyes. Aswell split 1500. Okay, so BetOnline has 1600. You could take a little bit of like uh little sprinkle on that because again that's probably how he wins. It's going to be tough to win like a clear decision just because he doesn't separate. You're going to get some weird scorecards here. I would be wary about taking any kind of like plus 3.5 minus 3.5 because I think you're going to get scorecards all over the place. And yeah, but I think it's Luke Riley. I think that he has more finishing ability just because Aswell doesn't throw with power. He has a chin, but he doesn't throw with power. Whereas Riley doesn't have a chin but throws with power. So I think if you want to play it pretty safe though, take the fight goes. I think fight goes and the over 2.5 are pretty safe. You don't have to pick a side. You don't have to lay super juice. You can take fight goes because I don't think Aswell's finishing here at all. And Riley, Aswell fought up a weight class. You're going to hear Balagioki a lot. He looked good in that one, right? There was 1-1 going into the third. Aswell could have won that round, but he doesn't grapple, right? And that was the thing. I actually talked to a buddy of Aswell's a couple of days ago. I asked him, why doesn't Aswell grapple? Like he has it. Apparently, he has a background in it. And he just says he just doesn't. He tries to tell him all the time and stuff. So if Aswell grapples, it's completely different. That he can win some rounds by grappling, and it'd be like a completely different fight. But he just hasn't shown it on tape. And we can't make assumptions, but maybe that's part of the game plan is that he comes out and grapples and it looks completely different and we look different. But if he does come out and grapple, then it probably still goes to decision. So goes to decision, I think, is a little bit safer than a side. I like either guy by decision, split decision, that type of thing. Yeah. In terms of finish, again, I don't know if it's early or late. Um, some fighter props. Let me just see. Uh, Takedowns and significant strikes. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, we're on to the main event here. Again, we have a full breakdown on the main event. Go to our YouTube channel, check that out. I will not go through the full thing, but I will tell you that we watched all the tape on it. On the Patreon again on Monday nights, I turn on the camera and we watch all the main events. We watch all the tape. We watch the takedown defense, how he reacts. I will just tell you as a summary, Lerone Murphy takedown defense hovers around 50%. It does not look great. I was on Lerone Murphy against Aaron Pico, and I was already immediately regretting my bet here into the first round because he got taken down multiple times. Aaron Pico looked like he was building, and then he got spun, cracked, and put out. I got away with one. Lerone Murphy ends up winning by knockout. We actually had knockout in that plus 600. We played the knockout, so we cashed big on that fight. But we watched the Evloev fight, and you take a look at the Aljamain Sterling. If you know how good Aljamain Sterling is on the ground, Aljamain Sterling could not get anything going against Evloev. And Aljamain Sterling is like the backpack. He's elite backpack taking. Once he gets on there, it's so hard to get him off. He couldn't even keep Evloev down on the ground. Evloev was on the one that getting on Aljo's back and just completely dominated the grappling there. Even the fight against Arnold Allen, which I rate a little bit better in terms of takedown defense and a little bit stronger, Allen had that limp lead arm, keeping the left arm down by his knees so that he was easier to down block. I thought it was a great strategy from Arnold Allen, and he actually had some good scrambling. But even still, when Movsar was able to get down to the ground, get to the back and stuff, this guy has just elite grappling. His takedowns come from all angles, single legs, double legs, into the clinch. When he's on the back, he's dragging you down and stuff, right? And we talked about it in the breakdown and the tape. Lerone Murphy historically has been pretty good defensively, and his striking defense is very good. He has like a 26%, 25% head strike defense, and that's because he keeps that nice high guard, right? He keeps it. It's very hard to hit him clean. He's in, he's out, he's playing peekaboo, right? And the thing is, and that's going to be the detriment here, and you will watch it come back to say, fucking Art called it, is that when Evloev sets up his takedowns, he puts a hand in there, he puts a hand on your face, he gets you to react, and then he drops down and gets the level change. We saw it all the time in the tape. He just up front gets you to put the hands up, and then he gets to the hips and gets there. What does Lerone Murphy do when you as soon as you start attacking him? He goes high guard, right? He puts the high guard up. He exposes the hips. I think that Evloev is going to have so much success getting down to the hips, getting the takedowns. They're going to be easy. The Lerone Murphy's single leg defense isn't that great either, and Evloev's top control is just. He's really good with the control and stuff, right? So, Lerone Murphy, I can see this fight looking like a Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway type of fight where the striker's not getting any volume off. The assumption is that Lerone Murphy's going to get damage off when the fight is standing and whatnot. But the thing is, Lerone Murphy, I think his paths to victory are outside low kicks. He has to throw those low kicks when Evloev is at range, and he has to add them up really fast. The problem is that Evloev catches low kicks. So if you throw the low kick, you get it caught, you're going to get taken down and stuff. So maybe now Lerone Murphy has to fight with no kicks. He has to rely on his boxing. Murphy's not really like a power punch. He's a more technical distance striker, good boxing, good fundamentals, but he's never been a huge power puncher. The finishes come from the elbows. He throws those elbows in close, the back elbows, things like that, right? And the problem is that Evloev doesn't stand in the pocket with you. So he's not going to pocket box with you. If he's in the pockets, he's in on the hips, he's grabbing something. So a Lerone Murphy finish might be like a Travis Brown elbows. And that's the biggest thing, is just trying to get elbows when he's defending and he hits him on the side. And maybe that's how he finishes. That's probably pretty live. Other than that, I think it's Evloev by domination here. It's possible that he slows down, right? He hasn't done a ton of 5-round fights. But at the same time, we haven't really seen Lerone Murphy in a 5-round fight where he's on the ground and having to get up and grappling and stuff, right? We saw Santos get his back in round 2. Santos got his back in round 3 as well. So what does Lerone Murphy look like into rounds 4 and 5 after spending 15 minutes on the ground, working to get back up and not getting there, getting almost choked out, all that stuff, right? So I like Evloev. I think he wins. I think it's going to be decision. I think goes to decision is probably pretty safe as well. If you had to pick between Evloev and goes to decision, you probably get more outs by taking goes to decision. Lerone Murphy can win a decision as well. But it would mean that he stuffs all the takedowns. He wins, based on damage, wins a close fight here. So if you have to pick between the same lines at the same price, I take goes to decision, because most of Evloev's finishing ability is probably a sub. It's probably decision, right? He's never finished anybody in the UFC minus 115. It's probably pretty safe. Um, if you had to find a finish, I was trying to think of when it would come. I would probably take a stab on like Evloev sub, maybe like 345, 234, something in that range. Evloev sub 345 is 1400. Yeah, I think it's maybe like 234. Where's 234? It's 1300. if I'm stabbing an exact method, that's probably what I'll do. But it means that Evloev's got to the back, that he's probably close to the rear naked choke or something like that, and everybody's thinking it goes to decision. Then this could be the one fight where he finds a sub here. So you're probably burning money. It probably goes to decision, but if it doesn't, it's probably Evloev 2-3 sub, 2-3-4 sub, or it could be like Lerone Murphy 3-4-5 KO. Those are the two that sort of stick out in terms of value and stuff, but there's not a lot else. It's Evloev, it's decision goes to decision, and that's about it. Even total rounds super juiced. Fight ends, all that stuff. So those are the only ones, unfortunately, but based on the lines, there's not much you can do. Sometimes the lines just dictate where we go, and sometimes it just tells us we have to pass overall because the line's not good enough. That's the difference between picking winners and picking the actual bets, is that it depends on what the price is. And if the price is too expensive, you have to be able to just say no, or say that we'll see if we can find a better live bet spot. So yeah, we've gone on, we've talked and rambled for 2 hours, but I hope you guys again found some value in this. Again, I normally do this to our Patreon subscribers through Patreon. There's a live stream feature there. We just turn on the camera and we talk it through. We have the Patreon guys in the chat, and answer all their questions, things like that. So great value overall. I can try to see if we can do more of these throughout the week and stuff. I know that there's good value because we talk about the actual betting lines. It's not about the breakdowns. It's breakdowns, but the context of betting and what has value and what doesn't. And again, we track everything. Everything that we've played has been over here in the tracker. So as soon as we make the bets, we post them in the tracker. You can see the ones that we talked about. We have Evloev, and we have Ghost Decision. We have Riley and Riley finish only. We have Michael Page on the money line, and then we have these dart strokes and stuff like that. Those are unofficial, so I will be removing those ones. Those are more stabs and stuff. So yeah. Again, follow us at patreon.com/fighting stats. Again, I'll try to do more of these. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Special, we have 25% off the first month, 2026 stats. You can tell from the breakdown just from hearing me talk, and how detailed we go. We do the work. We watch all the tape study. We go deep into the stats, and you get that coupled with actual betting lines and the ability to see what has value, how the fights are going to play out, and all that stuff. So you're getting incredible value. The live betting alone is insane. We just live betting year after year, month over month, pre-fight and stuff like that. So we were one of the top cappers in 2025. We're up 370 units in 2025, and we continue to roll that into 2026 as well. So again, let me know in the comments. You can help me out by liking, subscribing. Again, we got to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. I'll give away a couple of subscriptions or something like that. Try to pay you back somehow. But if you can like your friends, subscribe, share, all that stuff, it really helps me out. And if you help me out, I help you out, all that stuff. So again, all the best. I hope you guys again enjoyed the show. Thanks for hanging out. 2 hours of me rambling. My mouth is very dry. But I'll be live and available here on Saturday. What I also do on Saturday is, again, we watch it, we turn on the camera, we turn on the microphone, and as I'm live betting, I say I'm live betting this guy, look for this, all that stuff. So I share all the live betting information as well. So again, follow us. My name is Art C. This is Fighting Sets. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys next time. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you smash that like button. Hit the subscribe. You get notified anytime we put out new content. Remember, for 2025, Fighting Stats is on an absolute record-breaking heater. We're up over 350 units. That's $150,000 just from betting on UFC. Now, if you take a look at this profit chart here, it wasn't one or two big parlays that got us there. It was consistent wins week over week, month over month. We put in our time. We put in the tape study. We looked at all the fighting stats, and we got there. The record speaks for itself. Now our exclusive Patreon members get access to our live betting watch party, where we watch and live bet on UFC together. That's an additional 100 units that we made live betting on UFC today.